one of the reasons I don't go through phones is because I know I can't handle it.
Wow.
And I know me.
Crunk.
And I know that side of me.
Wow.
That, I had to be prayed away.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Qveen, in the building, and you are now tuned into Royalty Talks podcast. And let me just tell you guys, I am super excited today because I have the most amazing woman that is sitting in this chair right now, Miss Aujye. I want you to introduce yourself.
It is me. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Aujye, Aujye. Remember that? If you say Aujye and it doesn't feel sexy, you're saying it wrong. I am the CEO and founder of Aujye Apparel and more. Check me out right here. Boom. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
This is going to be the newest thing for the Aujye. There's some simple for the girls, but it'll show your body, yada, 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 yada.
So I just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
We have an amazing show tonight. We're going to just, y'all listen. Let me just tell y'all, I already got the tissues right here. I already got the tissue right here because I'm just having one of those days where I just want to be vulnerable, emotional, have a nice girl talk. And I just feel like Miss Aujye is the one to definitely bring the passion, bring the love, and definitely bring the guidance. And I'm super excited that we have her here today.
Okay, let's do it.
Now, the first thing that has been on my heart lately is, when did you realize that you were the problem? Sometimes when we say that we're the problem, we're more so referring to relationships. But I feel like when you realize that you're the problem, it's not only just in a relationship. When did you have that moment in your life, okay, like I need to fix this within myself?
Okay. That's a good question. I'm going to tell you when it was. It was a few years ago. And what I realized was, let me say this. I was a real bitch. I was.
Okay.
Or a B-I, dot,
that's
dot.
great, bitch.
Bitch. I was a bitch. I was a bulldog, baby. I was much different than the person that you see today.
Right.
But one day I realized that I was very angry.
Wow.
And I got tired of being angry. It was this, that simple. I woke up one morning and realized, and I felt like I was, to be honest, like suffocating. If you ever feel like you suffocating in anger.
Did you know what you were angry about, or you was unaware at that time?
Everything.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like life. Not life, what I wanted, what I didn't have, everything. But what I learned was that anger was my emotional channel. You understand what I'm saying? So some people, when they feel bad, they cry, they get sad. I get angry.
Wow.
So that's part of the thing. So it didn't really take much. So that's when I said, okay, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm the problem.
Right.
And that's in everything, even in relationships. Even after, here's another thing. After every relationship, we always review the relationship, right?
Yes.
But you gotta self-assess. And my last bad relationship, not this one, but the one before that, I realized that a lot of the stuff that he did was in retaliation to what I did.
Wow. So do you feel like you were the one that was kind of like doing stuff first?
Kind of.
Okay, that's honest.
I was a real bitch. I told you that. Now that wasn't that's me putting it lightly, but I'm gonna tell you what I learned. And this literally just happened last weekend. Okay, a little back history. I come from a big family.
We love a big family.
Yeah, my parents are older though than most parents. So let's say if my friends' parents were in their 20s, mine was in their 30s or 40s. It's a very male-dominated family. So my daddy is him. Let me tell you what this lady told me last week. She told me, because I was telling her, relationships, I like to be submissive. She said, being submissive is easy for you. It comes natural because that's what you're used to. That's what you see.
Right.
But being vulnerable.
Wow.
And I said, okay. There was nothing. She said, you can be submissive. She said, you can make. I said, yeah, because I was telling her how we were raised to serve my daddy and this, that, and the other. Even now, he's still living. He's like 100 years old. But and she said, that's nothing. She said, but being vulnerable is different than being submissive. So can you open yourself up? Can you? And that part is the hardest thing, even for me, who love black men, I respect men, all that stuff. Vulnerability.
Right.
Is more difficult than submission. It's certainly more difficult than biting your tongue.
That's the thing. Like, it's people, I just feel like when you're not in the right relationships, they will tell you that you can't really be vulnerable, or you can't be vulnerable around certain people, right? So that was always a scary thing for me because I always felt like I couldn't be vulnerable around a certain person. And if I did open up, I would get judged for it. How did you eventually get to that point?
One day I decided to give myself permission to feel. And so what happens is that as women sometimes in our culture or whatever, we don't give ourselves permission to feel. So when it hurts, you don't cry, you don't say ouch, you just grin and bear it. You know what I'm saying? And I told myself one day, like, no, you know, I ain't doing that no more. I used to didn't cry. I don't care. Now, if it hurts, I'm going to address it. Now, you can be vulnerable with yourself. Because a lot of times we're not with the world. Okay, you're right. You know, sometimes, but with yourself, because that's what matters. When you close the door, when we wipe off all our makeup, when we take the lashes off.
It's you. It's you. It's only you there.
You're the most real you can be when them lashes come off, baby. Trust me. It's a difference. I don't know what it is.
So I want to get into something today that also has been, you know, at my heart. And it's basically, do you have kids?
No, I'm an auntie.
So you're an auntie.
Best auntie ever.
Best auntie ever.
Period.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So one of the biggest things was mommy issues.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to talk about the segment of mommy issues, right? Can you share any personal experiences you may have had with mommy issues, and how were you able to overcome them?
Okay, that's a good question. First of all, maybe I should tell your viewers that I'm a case manager, social worker by trade.
Okay, yeah.
That might kind of validate me a little bit. Okay, so for me, I'm the middle child. Okay, so if anybody out there is the middle child, you understand. You either have to be loud or silent. There's no middle, because what happens is that no one's paying attention to you. So when I was born, everybody was working.
Right.
So my grandmother raised me, not because my mother wasn't there, but because she wasn't there. You understand? She couldn't be because she was working. And that's what, when I was growing up, the women worked, you know? So a lot of the mommy issues, and it was some because I always felt like my mama was hard, you know what I'm saying? She don't play. So I felt like I had to fight for her or to get her attention or something like that. Okay. I read a book that basically was like, and this was the truth, we look at our parents like they're God. Only God is perfect. When I started looking at my parents, mommy issues, but for both, but when I started looking at my mama as a human, then I saw her as a real person. When you see somebody as a real person, then you can kind of identify with them. So the same grace I want Qveen to give Aujye, I need to give it to my mama.
Right.
So that's what I did and then of course therapy. Lots of therapy.
Therapy is so important. I just started therapy this week, and I'm super excited about it.
I'm so proud of you.
I need it. I definitely need it.
Yes,
but for me, I just always felt, for the ones that don't know, I've always kind of struggled with mommy issues. And it's because I felt like I was looking for a mother in other people, right? And with me, it was just, for the viewers that don't know, my mom, she was in and out of prison for a majority of my life. And even when I had my grandparents raised me, my grandmother was definitely in my life, but I felt like there was a disconnect. And my grandmother, you know what I'm saying, like she's older, like, you know, you can't go to, we had social media, we got all this stuff. Yeah. You can't go to your grandma and tell her, somebody just talk mess about me on Facebook. She don't even know what that is. She gonna tell me, baby, I don't know what that Facebook, I don't know that.
I know that's
so
right.
For me, it was like such a disconnect. And I grew up in a household where I kind of just felt very just like, well, who do I connect to? I have two older sisters. You know, my other sister, my middle sister, she was kind of just wherever. And then my older sister, I looked up to her, but there was also a disconnect because she was older. You know, she's out of the household. You know, she's not there anymore. So for me, it was like, where do I find this person? And for the longest, I didn't have this person that I thought was a mother figure. You know, granted, I love my grandmother, but the mother.
Yeah.
That person was just missing. And even when I went to, you know, school and all that stuff, like when I would see beautiful women and all that stuff like that, I would imagine in my head, oh, that's how I want my mama to be.
Okay.
That's how I want my mama to be. But I realized how later on it caused me to have issues. What happened to me was I started basically, I don't want to say pushing myself on people, but I guess you can say pushing myself on people. Like I started, people that I know wasn't really good for me, I felt like they were good for me because I was trying to find the mother in them. And it was hard.
I get it. I understand. But see, this is the good thing about you going to counseling. Counseling is not going to, we need to do two things. First of all, counseling is going to help you address how you feel about it. Okay? And this is going to help you deal with the anger because we're going to have to, and I don't like to tell people to get over stuff, but we have to learn how to move past it. So we got to accept the fact that, your mom made bad mistakes. Mothers do.
Right.
And there's no, and I learned this. Now, I've never had biological children, but I've raised children. There's no rule book to this. Like, they don't give you a guide. So you just do the best that you can. And sometimes your best isn't good enough because our mothers have mommy issues.
Right.
Your grandmother and my grandmother are the same. They worked, they women, you got to do this. And that's how they raised their daughters. We wanted a hug. And your mama my mama, I ain't got time to hug you. Come on, what you doing?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so what happens is that we have to see them as human, which is address their own issues. Your mom is the oldest.
Yes, she is.
My mom is the oldest.
Wow.
That means both of our mothers raised children before we was born. Before we were born, they were parentified. That's what we call it. But they were mothers. So when they got older, they like, man,
I don't feel like, I want to live my life. And my mom, we have a relationship, but it's a building, growing relationship. Because by the time she got out, I was already grown. Like I was in college, I was, so we're in the process of building. And, I asked my mom, I was like, did you ever really want to be a mom? Like was that something that you wanted? And, she did express to me that she wish she would have waited. She felt like having a child so young. My mom had my oldest sister at 19.
There you go.
So you a baby yourself. You just don't, because I don't care what anybody say. Listen, you can say what you want, baby. I don't care how many bills you playing, how many men you sleeping with, all of that stuff.
Girl.
I don't care. At 19, you are still a baby. You are still learning. So I'm 25 and I am still learning to this day. It is not easy. So when I thought about that, I was just like, you know what? And I was so hurt. But I was like, at some point, I have to get to the point where I give this woman grace.
When you see your mother, if you were talking to me and I had children and I said, when I was 19 and I had a child and I wish I would have waited, you would have looked at me and said, okay, I understand, right? Because I'm not your mother. Try looking at her like a human. If you talk to your mama like another woman, you would get it. She's not saying that she regrets you, and she's not saying, I wish you was never born.
Right.
She's just saying, I wish I would have just pushed it back.
Took a minute.
I want to go out and have fun.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. This is what therapy is going to help you do that. Now, here's another thing. This is for you and for everybody else. I'm a big, big, big advocate for therapy, counseling, however you want to look at it. However, if it's not working out for you, meaning that if you feel like you're talking to the therapist and you don't feel, and you feel like they're not the right fit for you, change. I would rather you get another therapist than to stick with somebody that's not right for you.
I feel like for me, once you get a therapist, you just stick with that therapist and you work it out.
No, you stick with the therapist if your therapist is a male or female, if they are working out for you. Because remember, we're getting you past the point of resentment, of anger. Why would you want to resent the person that you're talking about that's supposed to help you get past resentment? See, we have to learn how to self-advocate. So you tell her. Now, I'll give you this. You say, you can tell the therapist, let's say her name is Barbara. Barbara, I feel like when I speak to you, you're not fully present. Oh. Okay. Give her an opportunity and she'll say, well, why do you feel that way? And you're going to say, well, it's because you do ABC, whatever the reason is. And so you can give her that grace. And then the next session, if she's not rocking it, then you can be like, you're not the one for me. Because remember, this is about your mental health. This is about your, and people like you who are, you're not a pleaser, but you're some, people could say you're too nice, right?
Yes.
Everybody don't get that. I'm telling you to give it to your mama because that's your mother. She gave you life. You always have to respect your mom. But your therapist, no. If she's not working out, tell her why. And if not, and you can even go as far as to say, can you refer me to someone else? Because this isn't working out.
Do you recommend, because let me tell you something, and this is just so scary to me, even as I was going through my process of selecting a therapist. And I was listen guys, I was super excited about the journey because I was like, this is something that I wanted for years. It was like I was healing my inner childhood doing this. I was super excited. However, I was a little drawn back at first because when I obviously, with certain insurance companies, you gotta get referred because they don't. Some of the people don't want to pay for it unless you really need it.
Thank you.
So
thank you for that.
So basically, how I kind of came into it, I asked my primary care provider. I was just like, I really feel like I need to see a therapist. I feel like I'm struggling with certain things, and before she could even say, well, what is that? She automatically was like, okay, well, I'm going to write your prescription for such and such. And I'm like, whoa, hold up. Wait a minute. I just said I was struggling with some things.
You around here playing. That lady said,
Listen. I ain't say I was about to jump the bridge.
Run it. Yes.
And she threw me off because the way she was kind of just forcing medication down my throat before I was able to really get a hold of the problem. For me, it kind of threw me off because I was like, okay, just imagine how that's being forced on other people who may not know, right? So at first I was like, okay, I told her, I said, well, sis, hold on, wait a minute. I just think it's something I need to talk about first. And then maybe I can go into if I feel like it's needed, then I would go into that field or whatever. Then when I actually got to the therapist, my first conversation with my therapist, we get there. Before the conversation even started, well, do you feel like medication is and I said to myself, like, okay, why is it that they are pressuring? I don't know if this is a new day and age, like maybe they just don't want to deal with it. Like, how do you feel about medication kind of just being at the forefront before really dealing with the inner work?
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
At all.
But why?
Because for me, different reasons. One of the reasons is because I think medication is a good last resort. Okay.
Obviously,
or at least towards the back. I think we should try less invasive first and then. So for me, I don't, I'm having issues with growing up. I have mommy issues. I'm having
Yeah.
Well, let me give you some medication. Well, if I give you medication at 25, then what you going to be doing at 40? And what you going to do at 50? And no, that's not what you need. I don't believe in that. Now, that could be a whole nother conversation because, that's when you get into the big pharma.
But I felt like it wasn't going to teach me to learn how to deal when I get to that point.
Because medication won't do anything, but I don't know what it does. I've never taken an antidepressant.
Yeah. Yes.
But I don't feel like that should be the go-to. Like, no, because we have to. So you'll be on an antidepressant. You're happy all the time, but you still haven't addressed what you're going through.
No, because in the beginning, they always say like, oh, black people are just against it. Black people are just not for it. But I'm just like, y'all.
I'm not gonna say I'm anti-medication, but
okay.
I don't like any type of medication that's gonna change you from who you are.
Wow.
I think queen should always be queen.
Right.
So I ain't crazy about it. Now, when I had now some medications, like if a person has a certain diagnosis, if they have ADHD and you got the medication to help them concentrate,
right.
certain things like that. But antidepressants, I think they work when you need them, but not out the gate. No. And you taking a pill? No.
And then for me, it was just so taken back because, obviously with how I grew up, I struggled a lot with depression, right? Like I was telling my therapist, I feel like everything that I went through was very situational. It wasn't as if I woke up one day and I was just like, I'm mad at the world. That's not what happened. Everything that has caused me to be this way has been a situation. So for me, I was very taken back because I'm just like, okay, well, if I'm looking at it from another person's perspective, and it's just like, if I was a parent and I brought little Tommy to you, I don't want you to just automatically feel like my son needs medication because he came to you and said, hey, I'm struggling with how I deal with my emotions.
I agree with you.
I felt like that was a lot. And
that's bull. That's horrible.
Okay.
And you're not wrong. You did a good thing. And let's go back to self-advocating. You did good because you said no. I don't want the medication. I want to talk to somebody. Just imagine how many women out there, we're talking to women, men, everybody, that would have just taken the medication.
Without even really doing the work.
You see what I'm saying? What you did was you talked up for yourself. That's dope. Listen, those 2 steps were major, especially for somebody with your personality. Yeah. Because other people would have been like, oh, okay, what you want me to take? Yeah, right. No, you said no.
Like I said, I'm not against it, but I do feel like it alters a lot of things. And this is not, let me just make a disclaimer. This is not me getting on anybody that is or using it at the moment. And that goes back to being vulnerable, but that goes back to also a person being scared to be vulnerable because you got people pressuring them to take freaking narcotics. Yeah. So,
and that's the thing. And then to your viewers, you're not telling people not to take medication.
Not at all.
You're telling people that medication was not the route you wanted to take
at all
out the gate.
Not at all.
If in the future you want to do it, why not?
Yeah.
But now, no, that's not what I want. I just want to talk. Let me tell you one thing I learned, and I didn't know this until I was grown and I was working in the child welfare system. Most of our issues come from childhood. I'm going to say all, but I don't like to use absolute, so I'll say most. And from there, so from that abandonment issue that you had, because mommy wasn't there, then on top of that, you meet a man who makes you feel like you're not good enough. Abandonment, right? Then on top of that, the teacher tell you, oh, what you want to be a singer? Well, you're not that good, you know? And then you feel like, or not even, that's not even like, when it comes to abandonment, I'll say abandonment, but let me say, feeling like you're not good enough.
Right.
Okay? So when people are abandoned, when people are neglected, they feel like something's wrong with them. And so what happens is that every person, even the therapist and that doctor that said, you need medication, you say, well, what's wrong with me?
But that was the thing. And, you know, growing up, and even in, you know, like I said, I wanted to be very open with you guys and vulnerable, but even growing up, it was like always just kind of like questioning myself. I was always questioning. And when I got to college, y'all, it was like hell. Because I was questioning everything that I did as a young woman. So I was doing a lot of questioning of decision making. And it was like I was incapable of making a decision for myself. And I was like, oh my God, I'm struggling. Like, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? Or this, that. I don't got family. I don't have anybody to ask. I'm asking my friends questions that I probably should be asking a therapist. So for the longest, I kind of was just confused. And it causes a lot of confusion.
Yes. But the thing is that it's like now you know what the issue is. So now we can address the issue. All of your decisions, you're second guessing yourself because that little girl, baby Qveen, little mama, wants to know what's wrong with her, why her mama don't want her. It's not that your mother doesn't want you, but explain that to a 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
It's very hard.
So we got to heal the child within us. We got to heal little peaches before we can be grown women.
And I just feel like that's what I feel like a lot of young women are struggling with that today because, you know, a lot of young women are trying to figure out, how do I heal the inner child? And I didn't figure that out until I got into a relationship and I realized the type of person that I was in this relationship. And my last relationship taught me a lot about self-reflection, but it taught me a lot about, oh my God, you are still hurt. You are still like, you know, and it was just like little things little things I'm doing, like, you know, nitpicky. And then, you know, when he probably would be doing something, I'm feeling abandoned and all this stuff. And I didn't realize I was like picking. Now, granted, he still wasn't shit, but at the end of the day, he still, you know what I'm saying? Like, he still wasn't the best.
Period.
But at the end of the day, it made me realize like, oh, wow, okay. I didn't heal that inner child. How do I do that?
Yeah, I understand. You're right. But just go back. And this is not to excuse him for ain't being shit, because trust me, I've had my fair share.
You know what I'm saying?
If we think about like vibrations and what we're attracting, you probably attracted a man whose inner child was broken as well.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? So you all are just reacting to each other's insecurities, basically. You know what I'm saying? And then you fast forward it. But see, the thing is that what you have to do and what everybody got to do is when we get to this point where you say, oh my God, like you said, oh my God, that is a huge step. That's not something to be ignored. Because at that moment, you realize something's wrong with me. Not wrong with me, meaning something bad, but wrong with me, that there's something that needs to be addressed.
There's a problem here.
Yeah, I got to fix something. It's me. Wait now. Yeah, he ain't shit. We ain't taking away from that.
Yeah, we won't take away.
We won't take away from that at all. But wait now.
How did I even allow myself to even be in this ain't shit?
Now you're self-blaming again.
Oh.
Stop self-blaming.
Wow.
It happens. Let me tell you something. The true nature of a woman is very loving and nurturing. So aside from all of the other stuff, the nature of us, we're meant to be nurturing. We're meant to be, that's how God intended it.
Right.
And they're meant to be logical, male and female energies. I'm talking about energies. Okay, masculine and feminine energies, I mean. So as opposed to saying, why did I allow myself to do that? Say, what can I do now to make sure that I get better? Ooh. See, because what we're not going to do is, a lot of times we get stuck and take residence in our despair. Okay, you did it. Okay, Qveen, you messed up. This was the wrong one. He ain't shit. Yeah. Okay, boom, what we going to do now?
Right.
I did learn that from my mama.
On to the
But, like, okay, so what we going to do? So you said my inner child needs healing. Okay, fine. So until I heal this baby girl, if you date, you're going to date light. But you're not going to put yourself in another situation because you already know.
I will tell you right now, I'm terrified of dating. And I just think that it's because I'm terrified of men right now. Like, listen, this generation of men has me in a chokehold. I'm choked up. Because I just feel like it's just, for me, it's like, well, this is due to my own personal traumas.
Naturally.
I just feel like it's very hard for a man in today's society with social media to just stick with one woman. And you got to understand, like, you know, granted, I was raised by my grandparents. You know, my grandparents have been married for 50 plus years. So that was my idea of a relationship, period.
Okay.
I saw other stuff, you know, high school, stuff like that, or whatever, college, whatever. But I've always kind of saw how you stick with this person through thick and thin.
Okay. Yes. All right. Now you're right. You're right about that. That old way of, I'm talking about them women went through some shit.
Yes.
Them men they brought home babies, other women, addictions, and they stuck right by them. I think you're right.
Beatings.
I think, yes, God. Yes. So we have to, like, okay, you know what? We got to do when you do a part 2, we're going to have to bring a man here because I feel like that men feel the same way. With the social media generations, the way we all are exposed. Because remember, social media is the one thing that united everybody. From 0 to 100, we all on Facebook. Well, I'm not. But we're all on Instagram, TikTok, so and so. You know what I'm saying? I can send memes to my niece who is 14. You know, and I'm grown, okay? Because the issue is this. Everybody's scared. Don't nobody want to be hurt.
I'm terrified.
We don't want to be hurt. And if you're a woman who loves like me, you love, like, I love you from my heart, like, to the point where you got to really, really cross me, and then I hate you from that same passion. But, so men feel the same way, so I understand that, but you have to push past that. Okay. But that's something else to address in counseling.
Right. And, I don't know. It's just so hard because I just feel like in today's society, and let me just tell y'all, I don't care. You can call me toxic. You can call me whatever you want to call me, baby. Okay. I get, and this could possibly be from childhood trauma, as we were talking about earlier. Let me tell y'all something. I go through phones. I go through phones. I know you're not supposed to go through no phone, Queen. But I go through phones. Listen, I don't and I think that it's an anxiety thing. I think that it comes from anxiety. I think that it comes from, and listen, I'm not sitting here justifying. I'm not telling a woman to go do it. I'm not telling you that you should go through your man phone right now. Please don't, because you probably gonna see something you don't want to see. You will definitely see. You will definitely see, even if it ain't what it's supposed to be. You will see something. See that. It's gonna be that, baby. It's gonna be there. It's gonna. Listen, I don't care if your man is a pastor. I don't care if he's an apostle. Let me not touch on it, but I'm gonna touch on it. It's gonna be there. Yeah. And for me, you know, it kind of just made me terrified. Okay. I understand what you're saying. I'm gonna say this in your defense. Mm-hmm. I only know 2 women in my life that doesn't go through phones. Really? One is me. Okay. And one is my mama, but they've been married for 54 years. He's 80. Right. Like at this point, you know what I'm saying. You know, they've been married that long. But the truth is that is normal because nobody want to feel played. And this is my thing. I don't agree with going through phones at all. I've done it 2 times. Both times I found something so circumstantial. Oh, but it just messed me up, and I know me. Oh wow. Okay, so did you trust the person whose phone you went through? No. Like, was there like so there was always kind of like in the back of your head? I had one ex-boyfriend. He just liked to lie. He just was a storyteller. Okay. What color is the sky? Orange. The sky's not orange. He just be lying. It's definitely blue. That was his thing. He just liked to lie. That's his thing. What's your hobbies? I like to lie. Okay, but yes, both times it was. But the second time, I don't even know why I wasn't going. I did go through his phone. Let me stop. But what made you get to that point? I did it 3 times. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm lying. Times. Okay. The third time I did it because I was proving a point. The third time I went through somebody's phone who went through my phone, and I'm like, this is you did it at night? I want him to see it. You want my phone? This what I'm gonna do. Okay. You gotta know yourself. I know me. I can't unsee what I saw. I cannot unsee that. I cannot unsee, and I had no clue. But I wanted to show him, you want to go through my phone, I'm going to go through yours. I don't, that ain't me. Yeah. Okay, those other 2 times were circumstantial. Wasn't that big of a deal, but it is. My thing is, if you're going to go through your man's phone, this is my opinion. Let's talk about it. You go through that phone, you got to be willing to act.
So if you say this, for example, if I go through Robert's phone and I see something, I'm leaving.
You got to be ready.
You ain't ready. So what, you just go drive yourself crazy?
So here was my thing, right?
Okay.
When I went through the phone, I do feel like by the time I went through that person's phone, because we were together for at least over 2 years.
Okay.
I went through the phone beforehand, but he didn't know. I went through the phone probably a year prior. Mm-hmm. However, I didn't really find anything. Okay. Like it wasn't really okay, I might have seen something a like picture or something like that. But I was like, all right. I didn't really find what I was looking for.
Right.
However, the second time, I felt like I was in that okay, you know how you just wake up one day and you're just like, well, damn, he don't really send me good morning texts no more. Mm-hmm. He don't really like my pictures no more. He don't really, you know what I'm saying? This ain't really what it is no more. So I felt like there was something there. And I don't like when people like to use the word insecure, because I just feel like there's a difference between being insecure and then your instincts. Mm-hmm. I just feel like personally, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but personally, I just feel like there's a difference. And I felt like for me, bitch, I'm a model. I'm not fucking insecure. I don't have a reason to be. But for me, it was just I felt like something was off. Mm-hmm. However, I can also say that I was not ready to act on I was not ready to act on what I saw. Uh-huh. And when I did that, I didn't understand at that time, and I'm so glad you said it. I didn't understand at that time, oh, bitch, when you do this, you better be ready to go.
Run it.
And for me, it was okay, I did this, but now I'm
mm-hmm. And what you did? Stayed.
I stayed.
And cried. and stayed and cried.
And when I stayed, let me tell you something, and when you stay, you do more damage to yourself. Uh-huh. Because you realize, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's when the insecurity starts.
When shit get real, that's when it's real. Now, let me tell you something about insecurity and instinct. Sometimes mm-hmm. they can intersect. This is why we need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. God gave all of us intuition. Mm-hmm. That was a gift from God. But God gave women, we got a little extra oomph. Unfortunately, life kind of messes up your intuition and you're all over the place.
Right.
So the thing is that it's two things. One thing, a man told me, he was married. He said, you either trust him or you don't. That's mm-hmm. the truth. If you don't trust, if you got a feeling like something's not right, you have to, first of all, in your mind, figure out what are you going to do with what you find. Mm. But if you trust him, ask him. He gonna lie. But ask him.
I was gonna say he gonna lie.
He gonna lie. But ask him, and then ask yourself, am I willing to accept what I'm gonna find? Because remember, you know good and well you're not leaving this man. Right. And a lot of times we going through phones, we following, we doing this. You ain't leaving him. So what you just want to know? Fine. Mm-hmm. But when you know, you can't unknow. Right. And depending on the type of man you got, he may get better at it. He may gaslight you. That's the worst type.
For me, I was gaslighted.
Yes,
I was completely gaslighted.
You're not even going.
It went from, because it went from, I'm about to get an apology because nigga, I done found you out, to turn around, let's go through your phone. Nigga,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Go through my phone. Here you go. I gave him the phone, but at the end of the day, that made me realize you nigga, you did a ninja move. You karate kicked me. You tried to hit me with that, but because I'm just such a faithful woman, a faithful woman of God. However,
you gave him the phone.
I gave him the phone. And he probably saw something that was kind of just but he didn't see anything that was drastic. And he kind of, when that didn't work, when the gaslighting shit didn't work, he turned around and put it on as, this is just insecure. This is just wrong.
All of that's gaslighting.
You. And that's when I realized so this is what they say when you go through your person's phone, it get real crazy.
When shit get real, it's real. It can't unreal.
And it can't unreal.
And in your mind, you probably blamed yourself a little bit. Well, I guess I shouldn't have went through the phone.
I blamed myself because I just like what you said, I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't have went through his personal space. Mm-hmm. I was just like, maybe I probably shouldn't have did that. Mm-hmm. But even to this day, I'm glad I did because I realized that I was giving loyalty to somebody that didn't deserve it. So I'm happy for that. But what I'm not happy about is that I wish I would have been a little bit more resilient within myself And if I felt like something was wrong, I should have walked away from it.
Okay. So you went through the phone. You're happy that you saw it. You saw what you saw. And because I was being devoted to the wrong person. And then you continue to be.
A little after that. So, well, let me just say this. Let me be transparent. After you go through the phone, expect to be together for at least a week.
Okay.
Expect to be 2 weeks at the most. Because you are going to break off at some point. Like, there's going to be another argument. There's going to be another situation. And then it's just going to be like, all right, we done, bitch. Like, it's over with. I would tell you, once you go through that phone, the lifeline of the relationship is damn near over.
Don't forget the part where you got to prove something to this bitch because, like, no, you're not better than me, so I'm not leaving. You can't have him.
You know.
Don't forget about the part where you saying, oh, well, what she look like. Because, see, you can't unsee. Let me tell you something. It's like a damn, you know what it is? It's like a setup, girl. Let me tell you. Trust me, I've been there. One girl, it's like, okay, you look at the girl, you want to look at her, right? And you look at you be like, ew, I look better than her. I'm smarter than her. I got this. I'm da-da-da-da-da. Okay, but then you look at that girl and you like, well, damn, she pretty. What the fuck? It's a lose-lose. You can't win because you offended. You know what I'm saying? In my case, I was.
So what I would say was,
not bitter.
Actually
Yes,
really, really scary. What I would say was the scary part about it, and I'm not afraid to admit this, all the women who I went through his DMs and found, because there were multiple women, all the women looked like me.
That didn't make it no better.
And I was petrified. Like, I was just like, whoa. Like, and I actually ended up calling one of the women.
Okay, you see, you go
Listen.
from bad to worse. But we've all been there.
Listen, I actually ended up calling one of the women. But however, it didn't go like the woman to woman.
Hello, what is that? Hello, Barbara, this is Shirley.
Well, it didn't go like
Hello, can I be the Barbara? This is Shirley.
It didn't go like the Barbara, this is Shirley. It didn't go like that, but it was more so. It was kind of a little just, she wasn't rude at all. And it just didn't go like that. It didn't go how I thought it was gonna go.
She probably knew who you were.
She did not know who I was.
Did she know he had a girlfriend?
I'm not originally from here.
But did she know he had a girlfriend?
She did not know.
She
did not know.
Where my camera at? Which camera do I look at to the people to see my face? Which was my camera?
She didn't know. And I actually know why she didn't know, because we weren't ever public. We weren't ever.
How did he look? Was he
like
cute?
That. To me, he was very attractive. Like,
and to everyone else, clearly.
He's attractive.
Sis,
he's attractive.
She know.
No, he's attractive.
She didn't care.
I feel like she knew he was messing with someone. She probably just didn't care.
She didn't care.
But she didn't know about me, though. She didn't know about me.
Which one is my camera?
This is your camera right here. This is your camera.
Oh, this is my camera? Okay, listen. But she didn't know about me, though. Okay, listen. What I'm saying is this. Even if they look just like you, even if they carbon copies of you, tell me, I don't even know if that make it even worse, because you're like, well, damn, what she got that I don't? We look alike.
I just feel like for me, it did, though. Like, it made it worse.
It made it worse. Okay.
It made it worse because it made it just like, okay, what? And that goes back to the thing that we were talking about earlier. You start to think that you're the problem. And I was just like, okay, what? And let me just tell y'all something. I will never sit here and try to act like the perfect woman.
No.
I just feel like that, to me, is just wrong.
And let me tell you this. This is my opinion. This is what I believe. I don't believe, in most situations, let me say in most, I don't believe that men cheat because of a deficit. I think people cheat because they want to. I think people do what they want. Listen, plenty men in relationships with women that are horrible people and they don't cheat, they just miserable. If they don't want to cheat, they're not going to cheat. If people want to cheat, they're going to cheat. You can't stop that. You know what I'm saying? So going through the phones, all that shit, that's what I'm saying. You have to be willing to accept the fact that now I know what he's doing, but I can't stop it though. You can't stop a person from doing. Let me tell you, if he ain't shit, you'll be at the restaurant and he'll be in the bathroom with the waitress. You understand what I'm saying? Girl. So the point is that it's like, we got to be real with ourselves. Like, we got to know, like, okay, what are we willing to deal with? What are we willing to address? Now, once you do that, and let me say you this, in all honesty, one of the reasons I don't go through phones is because I know I can't handle it.
Wow.
And I know me.
Crumb.
And I know that side of me.
Wow.
That I had to be prayed away. So I know me, and I also know the side of me that is insecure. So all of those people You got to be willing. You got to be able to handle that. You got to be able to control those women because all of them are inside of us. You understand what I'm saying? We all feel a certain way. So once you do that, I understand the urge to want to call this woman. But when you call her, God damn, this bitch tell you that the same thing he do for you, he do for her. And everything you have to, and I'm going to be personal.
I don't like that shit for a woman to feel like she got one up on
Let me tell you something. Everything I had, and this is the truth. This was a man I loved, and he was good to me. He was good to me. And to me, they all cheat in my mind. You know, I could be cynical in that way.
That's real.
But I said, well, you know what? I got it this. I got it that. So I had something to hold on to because I know for a fact he only do this for me. Until I found out, no. Everything I got, she got.
Wow.
The only difference is that I got the title. And I got
but with her,
more access. But she got as every single thing I had, she had as well. I had a car, she had a car. I had
he's getting these
girl.
Things. Ugh.
Not bitter, but the fuck. And here I go saying, "Oh no, look at me! I'm Aujye. I'm cute. I'm this. I'm
okay, because you that bitch.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, and it's always somebody. And I'm telling my sister like, I'm better than her. I got this. I got that. But at that time, I had education. And my sister say, you're not better than her than him.
Speaking of education, throw your degrees out there.
Do I have to?
I would love for you to.
Okay.
Educated black woman.
If I had hair, I would be flicking. Okay, so I do have a. Well, you want me to start from the beginning? Yeah, I got a bachelor's in sociology.
Yeah.
A MBA. Boom, boom, boom. And then I am a doctoral candidate.
Ooh.
What? Yeah.
Okay.
Because I have to say it like that because my auntie.
Because we got to make sure, just because we talking ratchet, we want y'all to understand that we are educated.
Oh no, we're very educated.
We are very much educated. I am currently right now pursuing my master's. But I want y'all to know, listen, we might have our little talks, but we are educated.
We are, but we just educated. Real with each other and real with the people. Because we can turn it on and off. But that's what I'm saying. But that's how I am. And my sister said, you're not better than her to him. Because in his world, she
You think in his world you guys were equal?
No, I think in his world she was more comfortable. At least I want to tell myself that. I got to get something out of this.
A man told me, and this is when I knew it had to end.
Uh-oh.
Because a man told me that he was comfortable with me. Mm-hmm. I never heard I was in love with you. I never heard anything else. I heard comfortability. And I just wish I could speak to me earlier because I would have said, run.
There's no way you would have known that. Because
really,
a lot of people would say that's a good thing.
Wow. Because I felt like.
Because you feel like, yeah, so he always comes home. Because that's what it means. Comfort is home. Home is comfort. And
ooh, child, hold up, wait. We got these tissues.
Take your time with the tissues.
Got the tissues.
That's home, right? I feel I'm comfortable with you. You say, yeah, but then if you look at it from a different way, the more
the men logical way.
The queen that's outside looking in, when you're comfortable, you don't strive to do better.
Right.
So when we sit on the couch and we comfortable, what we say, I'm not gonna move from this spot.
Right.
And so then you look back, you be like, well, damn, I was comfortable, but I guess that's why he stopped doing certain things. When you had that feeling, remember you said something was off?
Yeah.
When he stopped trying.
Right.
When people get comfortable, they stop putting forth effort.
There was no dates. There was no.
Right.
Now, granted, there was a point in the time where, situations kind of arise that kind of put a hold to certain things. And I will tell you right now, I'm very understanding. I'm a very understanding. Sometimes, I'm going to be real with you, I'm too fucking understanding.
Okay.
And that's something that therapy is going to help me realize sometimes you can't compromise on certain things.
Period. Especially on yourself. Well, go ahead.
Especially on yourself. Mm-hmm. So with him saying that, I guess for me, I was just like, okay, well, it's a good thing because he's comfortable with me. Mm-hmm. He expressed to me how he felt. Mm-hmm. But then a part of me felt like, is it enough?
Like, damn, that's it.
That's it.
Because that was it. These young ladies that he was dealing with, they were getting dates.
Yeah.
They were getting fun. They weren't
getting dates, but they were definitely getting attention that I should have gotten
because
I put in the work.
What you wanted. So let me say,
yes.
So for some, it's dates. For some, it's money. For some, it's time. I've seen men, let me tell you something. I've seen men do nothing for their woman.
Wow.
Chivalrously. And for another woman, open doors, do this, do that.
The whole shebang.
Come on. So maybe she didn't get that, but what she got was what you wanted. And that's what hurts. That's what hurts.
Wow.
So
that is
in my case, what hurt is that she got what I got. So we the same. Mm-hmm. You understand? And that's a humbling experience.
It is.
Especially when I saw her.
It is. How does she look? Was she on your level?
She wasn't. No! Again.
I'm so sorry. The liquor's talking.
Again, the bitterness. The
liquor's talking.
I wish I was drunk so I could justify the bitter. No.
And it's okay that the person that I'm referring to, granted, we did look similar.
But she wasn't Qveen.
But she was not Qveen.
I understand. And when you think about it and we look at our credentials, and I'm not even talking about educational credentials.
Obviously.
I'm talking about when you get sick, I take care of you. When you know what I'm saying? I look after you. I treat you like a king. That's credentials. Not my degrees. Y'all got degrees. Yeah, whatever. I treat you like a king. I'm this. You smile when you want me. We out. Everybody talks about our chemistry. We good here. Mm-hmm. So I thought. You understand? Mm-hmm. So when you take it and you're going to naturally compare yourself to the other woman, that's how you realize that she looked just like you. Well, this woman looks the opposite of me. From everything. We don't look the same.
She wasn't even similar. Wow.
No. So... So that's what I'm saying. It just messes you up. But see, all of these things happen when you open up Pandora's box, what people call Pandora's box. And that's fine. So here's my thing. To you, to everybody. You want to go through a phone, fine. But one, you need to address how you going to handle what you're going to find. It is inevitable. Anytime you go looking for something, you're going to find it. How you going to handle that? And the most important thing is now what you going to do. Because I say it to my friends all the time. Oh, I went through his phone. Okay, what you gonna do?
Let me say this. Before you go through that phone, baby, you need to call who you need to call, see who you need to see, get that money together because, baby, you got a 2-week span at the most.
And don't get you...
to pack your shit and go.
Don't get you no man who's like not tolerant of going through phones.
There are some men that don't even allow that type of...
You understand?
Like, there are some men that don't even tolerate
I'm just saying.
And, you know, at the time, the person that I was seeing was very patient. He was a very patient man. I will not take that away from him. He was a very patient man. However, at that time, I wish I was financially in a situation to where I could have walked away.
Let's talk about that part. It's a big part of it.
Because let's talk about letting go. But when you let go, let me tell you something. You got to be ready.
And able.
Because
a lot of times when we deal with the same type of men. Let me say this too. Everybody, these women talk about, I want a provider. Okay. Provider men, that is dope. Okay. But with much power comes great responsibility. But a lot of times when people taking care of you, you don't like the way that sounds, where they throw it back in your face, or where they remind you, or where you get what I'm saying? Because you said, I wish I would, and I know the feeling. I wish I would have been able to be like, you know what? You and them nasty, stinky hoes, I don't care. Run it, I got my own.
I truly do wish I was in a situation where I was able to just kind of just say, you know what, this isn't working out. Let me get my shit together and let me just dip.
If you had more power.
If I had more power. Now, because I was in a situation where I didn't have that power or that luxury, it caused a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And it was really just like, okay, obviously, you know, I got to the point where I had to leave or whatever the situation was. It was like navigating through that. And that was one of the darkest days in my life.
And what happens is that you feel, I felt, because we're being transparent, kind of stuck. You understand? Because, I'm having a good life. This is great. He does this, he does this, he does it all. You understand? I got a little something, and a lot of times that's what happens with us, with women, with people, not just women, with people that are maybe provided for or taken care of. And a lot of time the person doing the caretaking is like, yeah, so. Because you got some people like that. You go to the phone, well, who is this? What you gonna do? You can't leave. And you feel that way. I felt that way. It was like, okay, so what I'm gonna do? Okay, I can go back home, but who wants to go back home? I could do this. You know what I'm saying? It's an awakening. So you gotta be ready. That's why I say when you go through them phones, you gotta be ready. You have to be prepared for whatever it is that you want to do. Because sometimes you say, okay, well, I've known women to be like, okay, you want to do this? Let's just open it up. Let's just have an open relationship. Maybe.
And there's some people that find that to be comfortable.
Sure.
Me, I don't like to share my food.
Right.
So I'm somebody that I don't think that an open relationship will ever be,
it's not for
me.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
However, just like you said, you have to be ready.
You got to be ready.
And one of the biggest things, because I was talking to somebody earlier and they asked me, they said, when do you get to that point, that breaking point to where you want to let go, to where you let go? And I said, well, sis, when you ask that question, when you're asking me a question of, okay, I'm kind of feeling like I need to get to that point of letting go. So when did you get to that point when you asked that question?
That's good. That was good now. You did that. You know what? For me, certain people or people like me that love hard, sometimes that point is forced. Like when it just gets really bad, like, okay, wait now. Come on now. I ain't even sleeping no more. Like, what is this? And I don't even sleep.
I ain't even sleeping no more.
Sleeping. Like,
I ain't even going to bed.
I felt really
I'm crying every night.
Yeah, like I'm just crying. And then I'm numb. I don't, you know what I'm saying? What? And the thing is that is a side note. This for all the old people. Gladys Knight has a song called Home Alone. She talks about being home by yourself and the walls is closing in on you. So she was saying how she don't want to be at home alone. Also, side note, I love old music. Listen to Aretha Franklin. You've never been through anything that Aretha didn't sing about. But
yes,
you have to be ready. And that's the thing. That's the part that we always glaze over. Oh, ain't nobody going to pull one over on me. Okay, so good. Go through his phone. Fine. You went through the phone. Now what?
Crickets.
Right. Okay, so what you do? You went through the phone. There is another woman who has a phone line
that is able to have access to.
Don't play with me. What you gonna do?
On my own.
Now you gotta get a job. You gotta.
On my own.
Now I will say this: we talked about the aunties and the grandmamas and the mamas from back in the day. A lot of times they didn't leave because they couldn't.
Well, I will be transparent with you. Like I told you, like my grandparents have been married for over 50 some years, and that's what I grew up seeing. So, and I've seen a lot, not to put their business out there, but I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of chaos in the marriage, chaos to where if it was on the shade room, everybody would be like, motherfucker, you better walk away.
Period.
So it's just like, I've seen that.
Yeah.
So, but I want to tell you sometimes, what could possibly be the problem of seeing it? Now, me, I'm a woman of faith. I believe in God. Jesus died on the cross, all of that stuff. And I also believe that in a marriage, you take that oath to death do you part.
Okay.
Rich or for poor.
Okay.
For better or for worse.
Okay. I see what you did.
So for me, it was just like, I saw that. My grandparents, they're very Christian and all that stuff. And growing up, I saw how they kind of just, throughout everything, they stayed together. But also, I struggled with, okay, I'm going through this in my relationship. Do I stay? But then I realized we're not married. So it's just like, but I'm also like, do I? And it was just like.
I get what you're saying.
It was just such a struggle. I hope I'm breaking it down correctly because.
You're right.
It was such a struggle for me. And I was like, you see these things on social media now. And I feel like now in relationships, we're so quick to give up.
Oh, yes.
We're so quick to give up. Like, yeah, I don't even want to do this no more. This lady got here. She got here.
Yeah.
But that's just like, if you were married with your husband and you guys turn out, listen, it's possible when you guys have family, the husband, you could be married for your husband for 13 years and your husband might turn around and have colon cancer. Your husband might turn around and be diagnosed with a life-threatening disease or whatever. You have to stay. You took that oath for rich or for poor, for better or for worse.
You have to. And also, too, this is what my mama taught me. Even if you're mad at your husband, you still have to feed him. You still have to. You know what I'm take away your responsibilities, but you're
I
right.
stand that look. Oh, you know that movie Diary of a Madman? Are you hungry?
Christina.
Yeah, I'm gonna feed your ass, all right.
That's what I'm saying. Now, I will say this. I understand exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so I have a large family. I told you that. It's 8 of us. Mm-hmm. I'm the only one that's single. I'm the only one that's not married.
Wow.
I think one other brother, but it doesn't count because he's like in a full relationship.
Okay.
So what you're saying is what we're saying the same thing. Marriage, relationships, man and woman, it's like what you're supposed to do.
Right. You work
and
through
that's
that.
that's how we grew up. You're supposed to have a husband. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to be this. You're supposed to be patient with men. You're supposed to. And that's fair. Okay, whatever.
Right.
But thank God that we are in an era where we have exposure and we have access.
Yes.
So knowing that, my belief in I believe in God and stuff, Christianity and stuff. But I also believe in vibrations. And I believe that if we attract, like.
So you believe in like energies and stuff
absolutely.
like that? Absolutely.
Because I still believe in God and Jesus. Mm-hmm. I just also believe in vibrations and I also believe in energies. To the point where I can feel if a person is good for me, if a person is not good for me. Wow. The good thing about us seeking counseling, which is not energetic, it's very natural, it's very physical, personal, is that once we heal the inner side, the inner child, once we heal the inner woman, once we do that, we are operating on a different vibration to where we will attract a man that can be worthy of, for better or for worse. See, women like us, we love, people don't like for me to say it, but we love wrong. In other words, you're giving your all to the wrong person.
Wow.
Well, when we have to fight to do it, let me tell you, it's hard to not be bitter, honestly.
It is.
We have to fight to not be bitter. And we have to fight
That's so good.
We have to maintain, because the love, that pure love is great. And that's from God. The pure love is wonderful, but it's hard.
It is.
And what happens is that you get to the point where you like, you know what, forget it. I ain't dating no more. I don't want to do it. The other thing is that what I want to encourage you and everybody else to do is we want to make sure that we, the first thing is to realize there's a problem, right? So we're going to address it, but I don't want you to sit in it. I want you to address it. I want you to see it. Now, at the end of listen, today was a bad day. And, so-and-so, and, this man cut me off and the thing. But at the end, I want you to end it on a high note. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow will be a better day. See, because what we want to do is we want to train ourselves to expect the great. That's a song, actually. To expect it. So don't get so wrapped up in how bad today was. Mm-hmm. The day is bad. It's a horrible day. Worst day of my life. But tomorrow, that Glorilla line was lit.
I love tomorrow. I was just about to say that.
She was right.
And one of the things that somebody actually taught me was, even if you feel as if you're not, like, you can be going around saying, oh, I'm not healed, I have this. Mm-hmm. One thing that someone taught me, and it was so beautiful, and I'm so glad they taught me, say that you are.
Yes. Fake it till you make it is real.
Fake it till you make it, because I promise you it does wonders. And since I've been implementing that into my life, oh my gosh, things have gotten so much better for me. And I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try that. I'm not healed. I am healed. Or I am working on that. And it's like, I don't want to, like, I'm literally learning that now as a young woman, learning how to just self-reflect, but learning how to, affirmations, encouraging myself.
No, you're right. That's good. And now I want you to take it a step further. And I want you to express gratitude. Now you believe in God and you tell God, God, I thank you. Whoever you believe in. You believe in God, the universe. Mm-hmm. One thing I've learned is they're kind of, it's not important. God, I thank you for being healed. Mm-hmm. I thank you for, we have to speak faith. Faith is different names, but it's all the same. Mm-hmm. And if you honestly believe in God or whoever your higher power is or whatever you believe in, if you honestly believe that he is omnipotent, all powerful, then you got to know that it's happening. It's going to happen and it's already there. It's already done. Mm-hmm. And so you have to say, I'm so grateful. But that's not to say don't address the way that you feel. Don't ignore that. Don't say, well, I had a bad day, but God is able. No, I had a bad day. This is how I feel about it. period.
Something you told me before the show started was basically, and I hope I say this right.
Okay, let's see it.
That you said something about not blaming yourself.
Yes.
That is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. I want us to get into the habit of accepting what is.
Wow.
Now, there are some things that, we could have done differently. And if it is your fault, we can address that. However, we can't hold ourselves accountable for other people's behavior. Mm-hmm. And that's what we get into the habit of doing. Well, I guess if I wasn't so ugly, he wouldn't have cheated. No, he cheated because he wanted to. That's why I say you put it on. And so once we get to the point where we're trying to exercise self-control and self-awareness, because a part of, and people use this word, they throw these words around, emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest parts of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So what we have to do is, okay, it happened. Now what? Because it's not your fault. It's not Qveen's fault. Now, could Qveen have done something differently? Yes.
Yes.
Acknowledging that you could do something different is not the same as taking blame. Unless you did it. Now, if you did it, it's your fault.
Yeah.
But a lot of times and that's what you do, you self-blame it. It was for the people, we were talking about something.
But a lot of times I would say, I agree, but a lot of times it could be after something was already done.
Sure.
So they might have did it, but they did it after it was already done.
That's what I say. If it's your fault.
Right.
Then you have to accept it. But a lot of times we take blame for things because everybody wants answers. And so we take the blame for something that is not your fault. Mm-hmm. It's not your fault he did certain things. He did it because he wanted to. He did it because of circumstance. He did it because, let me tell you something. I could say, Qveen, I hate you. I don't like you, da, 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 da. You have the decision. You can hate me back or you can just say, oh, okay. Choice.
That's so good.
I learned that from a friend of mine. He said, you can choose to be offended or you can choose to not be offended.
That's so good.
So just don't be offended.
Wow.
Now, that's so much easier said than done, but
obviously.
But that's what we are with it.
Listen, I want people to know where to follow. Well, first of all, before we leave off, I do want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to today's show. I'm super excited. I'm super glad for what we have coming to you guys in the near future. I'm so blessed and I'm so thankful to have Miss Aujye here to just spread the word, positivity. Mm-hmm. We're definitely looking forward to having her back.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just want to say thank you so much for being
thank
here.
You
Let us know where we can follow you.
All right, so listen, I am a superstar. Everybody just has to keep up. They got to catch up, you know. So follow me on all your social media platforms @_Aujye, AUJYE. www.aujye.com. You'll see my apparel. We got more stuff rolling out. I want you to say Aujye. If it doesn't feel sexy saying it, you're saying it wrong. And for booking information, you can contact me on info@aujye.com. So info@aujye.com.
Thank you guys for tuning into Royalty Talks Podcast. It's your girl Qveen, and see you on the next episode.